सनातन रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परं प्रेमामृतं वनिधि श्री चैतन्य कृपाभनो भुवि भुव भारावहन् कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the global network of devotees that are participating on a weekly basis consistently in these readings and discussions of the different sacred literatures that have been given to us from Srila Prabhupada in his unedited books. And this is our mission. Our mission is to preserve the legacy of our Guru. Yes. And this has been something that has been harmed by certain God brothers that have worked in his mission since his departure from the material plane in 1977, in a sense. Prabhupada lives with us in his Vani incarnation, so he never leaves his devotees who are devoted to are committed to him. And Guru Tattva is the essence of the teachings of the Krishna consciousness movement, that he lives in sound. And Prabhupada is always with his devotees, and especially the members of the Hare Krishna Society and Prabhupada Disciples Association. Why? Because we are committed to protecting the legacy, as I said. And this is the essence of this philosophy. And every time I hear lectures by Srila Prabhupada, and he stresses that point, and it's interesting to note that Yashoda Nandana and myself were discussing this, and the fact of the matter is that Prabhupada wanted us to always remember this principle, and that's why it's being constantly repeated in the scriptures that we read. And everything that the spiritual master says, look at that beautiful Bhagavad Gita there. I've got one here too. It's just fabulous, these original books. But everything that the spiritual master speaks is Shastra. It's not, and we've discussed this, Yashodanandana Prabhu, it's not a question of the verses of the Bhagavad Gita that we study only. No. Because everything that the Acharya says is scripture. This is a principle that Prabhupada explains to his disciples in his lectures. that the spiritual master is non-different than Krishna. Now, we should not get confused by this statement, but it's like Jesus would say that he was the Son of God. Yes, okay. But there is a difference between the Father and the Son. And so in this way, Prabhupada is Krishna speaking. He's the incarnation of Srila Vyasadeva. And this was predicted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that someone would come and propagate the message of the Vedas worldwide. And this is what Prabhupada achieved when he came to the West. In very short time, 11 years. Well, that's hardly any time, and we've been reading the diaries. And that's giving us amazing insight, Bhaktijad, into Krishna's plan for the preservation of the teachings of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya for human society moving forward. So it's a very important mission that we're on. It's not frivolous. A lot of people take up this business of teaching for making a trade, as Prabhupada said, with Krishna. Oh yeah, I'm going to present Krishna, but in this way, I'll get myself a big house. Or I'll get a small house that'll be marble. I'll have a $35,000 bathroom in Vrindavan, made out of marble. And in this way, I'll be a preacher. Do not make trade with Krishna. Do not make Krishna your business commodity. The truth is what we're interested in. And I had a very interesting, I've got a couple things to say. I had a very interesting Yashodanandana Prabhu meeting with a guy yesterday, because for all of you, you know, we had this GoFundMe campaign to raise the money to print the Bhagavatams. And this has been a most amazing situation. I'm not going to go over the complicated matter right now, but it's been a wonderful experience for us to work as a team to present these books to the world again, the original Delhi Bhagavatams. And I was speaking to a printer in Los Angeles yesterday. Oh yeah. And he's a very nice person. And what happened was, I had an opportunity, because he was interested, Yashodanandana Prabhu, in discussing the books that we're publishing. Okay. So I started to explain to him the philosophy, and he turned out to be very inquisitive. So, you know, I got on the high horse and started to go. Okay, you want to learn? We're going to tell you. So we had a discussion. Then I got him to go. I wrote this play called The Prince of a Million Mothers, which is an adaptation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I've actually written two plays, The Salvation of Adam and The Prince of a Million Mothers. Now, there's a soliloquy, Yashoda, at the end, which Prabhupada, you know, basically wrote. And I just adapted it to a play format. As years ago, I thought, oh, we can produce a play and put it out there and help inspire people. So he read the soliloquy after I had been preaching to him for about a half hour. And he goes, you know something, I'm convinced that you're 100% right here. I've been looking for this all my life. I go, really, eh? He goes, oh, I'm going to cancel everything this week. I just want to study about this project that you've offered to me, and I want to learn about it. And I really, really am impressed. I've never heard anything like this before in my life. I go, wow. So it was very positive. And he's a 34-year-old man. And he's coming to France, actually, Bhaktijad, on a tour. And so let's see how he goes on Monday. I'll keep, trying to help him get closer to Krishna. I'm going to introduce him when Krishna Katha hopefully meets him. I don't know if he can, but I told him, we'll bring you a book so you can read the Gita. and will progressively work. So as we step forward, this is the moral of the story. As we step forward, Krishna Kata, in this program, we're getting the opportunity to serve Krishna, and we're getting the opportunity to see Krishna serve us, reveal so much to us as we march forward in a program which is the highest service that you can undertake in the material world, which is to serve the spiritual master in the propagation of Krishna consciousness by his original books, Vijaya Pandit. There is nothing better, nothing higher than this service. We do not jump forward to Jugala Priti. Oh, I love Krishna. I'm going to be in the Ras Leela. I'm going to go back to Godhead, and all my disciples will come with me. We'll have kirtan in the spiritual sky. This kind of preaching goes on with some people. It's somewhat arrogant, I'd say. But anyway, what can you do? As you know, Bhakta Jat, it's all kinds in this world. There's all kinds of people. You're not going to be able to convince all kinds of people, but some people will get it. And the people in our group, the PDA, the Hare Krishna Society, we want to thank you for stepping up and taking action. And before we go to the reading of the diary, I wanted to mention Yashoda Nandana Prabhu to you, that as you know, he knows us, but he's very familiar with Shama Sundar in Australia. He's our friend. And so we not only are we going to print the books, a small number of them, but we've got to set up a network for distribution. Oh yeah. So out of the idea of publishing, then we thought, well, more important is marketing and advertising and selling. You know, it's good that you got the books. Okay, great. But if they just sit in your closet, what good are they? Oh, we printed the books. We got them in our closet. I know a guy that printed 1,200 of them, and they're in a storehouse. They just sit there. I go, well, it's not doing much for anybody. So we've came up with this idea of branch offices, which we're launching. Okay. And by the way, if anyone here in this Zoom meeting is interested in being a branch office, not a temple, a branch office of the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association, let me know, please. So people will know. Right now we have 17 worldwide branch offices. 17. And I've been trying to get a hold of our friend Shama Sundar to get his location, because I wanted to put him on the branch offices, Yashoda. And this morning, I've been back and forth on emails, Krishna Kata, trying to get a hold of him. Today, Prabhus, the Samosa King sent me a picture of his outlet in Australia. I sent it to you, Krishna Kata. Did you see that? It is amazing.
Yes, that's a first-class operation.
It's amazing. And he's got books right there at the cashier's section.
Yes.
And I know he makes 2,000 samosas a week and he sells them. 2,000. So that's just part of what he's doing. I had to write him back, Yashoda Nandana Prabhu. And I told him, that is super excellent. I sent it to Naveen Krishna. I said, this is one of our outlets for our offices worldwide. And this is the idea, that everybody, whatever role you're in here, if you're in office, if you want to be in office for us, we'll put you up on the letterhead, we'll list you in our website, and then you can expand your service for the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. Expand it. Don't minimize it. Don't remain static. This is a dynamic process, devotional service. And we are all very fortunate to be a part of this. We really are, because this is how you please Krishna, by serving the pure devotee. As Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada, he said, don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Krishna will see you. So how do you get the attention of Krishna, everyone? By serving Prabhupada and protecting his legacy. Connect the dots, please. This is very, very, very important, because this is the highest understanding of this philosophy. Everything else is not as important as this service. In real time, Bhaktijad. In real time. So that's enough of that. And thank you, everyone. Let's read forward. We've got Rupesh Prabhu being the host today, and we're looking for other people to join us with this hosting work of the Zoom call. So if you have an aptitude, we have 3 classes a week, and we're looking for people to participate in helping to host the class because of the varieties of schedules that people have. Some people can't attend on a Wednesday or on a Sunday or a Saturday. So please get a hold of us. We're looking for people to help us in our social media campaigns. Glories to Prabhupada. Okay, so here's an excerpt from an evening darshan with His Divine Grace in Tehran on August 10th, 1976. And Prabhupada's going to go give us more explanation of his history. Vijay Pandit, his history. Prabhupada, no, we have no attachment. We can sit down in this nice building. We can sit down anywhere. We are not attached to this building. We are not attached. We are attached to push on Krishna consciousness. That is our business. And unconditionally, we can push on Krishna consciousness. Ahoitiki apratiyata. It is not that if we don't get a nice building, as a Treya Rishi has supplied, then we cannot push on. No, that is not Krishna consciousness. Just like I began the movement underneath a tree in New York, Tompkins Square. What is that? Devotees, Tompkins Square Park. Yes, I used to sit down there. There was no mridanga. I know, that's amazing. Hey, you showed it. Plays the bongo. And it made it sound really good, by the way. Expert musician. A small dundubi, and I was standing there 3 hours, Hare Krishna, and people used to come. Nava Yovana. It is a very bad neighborhood. Very low-class neighborhood. Yes, Prabhupada says, low class, high class, we don't mind. We chant Hare Krishna, that's all. That 26th 2nd Avenue, also not a very good neighborhood. Janagamya, it is the worst place in the country. And there's a laughter. Prabhupada, but I didn't know. Mukunda suggested this is a good place. All right, live here. Actually happened to be a good place. Gradually, all my disciples came. So I had no disturbance. I was living in the Bowery Street, and on my door, these bums were lying with urine and wine bottles and everything. Still, they were so respectful. When I'll come, yes, you can enter, please. Laughter, I had no quarrel with them. They were very kind. They welcomed me. They opened the door. Please go. They also knew that he's harmless. So platform. If you remain on the spiritual platform, This material condition cannot hamper you. Ohaitiki apratiyata, then yenatma supersidity. In that condition, you can execute. First of all, we have to ascertain on which platform we shall stand. And if you want to stand on the spiritual platform, nothing can check it. That is not conditioned. So why not stand directly to the spiritual platform and make your life successful? That is our preaching. People in general, they do not know the importance of the spiritual platform. Therefore, they prefer to stay in the material platform. They have no sufficient education. So that is just amazing. Shruta, capsulized explanation of our philosophy. It is not complicated, simple for the simple, difficult for the crooked. So let's stay on the simple path, continue on with our work in our association and our society, and depend on Krishna for success, which we will get in due course. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and our class with Yashodanandana Prabhu on Bhagavad Gita as it is, unadulterated and unedited. Haribol.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana. Two, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. Three, to the mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then four, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 2, 4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as we do every week to honor the legacy of Srila Prabhupada. We will be reading a few selected verses that he introduced in 1966 when he came to New York, USA, and started to give lectures on the Bhagavad Gita. It should be noted that this reading and discussion is on the basis of the 1972 Macmillan non-edited, non-adulterated, non-interpolated Bhagavad Gita. We refer to it as the original Bhagavad Gita, duly authorized by Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale swayam rupa kadamahyam dadati svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagunara Gunatan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Ghurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will proceed with our reading. Today we will be reading from chapter 11, text 16 and 17, depending how long the verse is. And we request everyone to participate by very carefully listening to the Sanskrit and the word for word given by Srila Prabhupada. It should be noted that this class of reading is based upon the translation, synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. He's the current Acharya of the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text number 17. Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrinam Cha Tejorashim Sarvato Diptimantam Pashyami Tvam Durniriksham Samantad Diptanalarkadyutim Aprameyam Kiritinam with helmets, Gadinam with maces, Chakrinam with disc, Cha and Tejorashim effulgence, Saravataha all sides, Diptimantam glowing, Pashyami I see, Tvam you, Durniriksham difficult to see, Samantat spreading, Dipta Anala blazing fire, Arka sun, Dyutim sunshine, Aprameyam immeasurable. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable, like the sun. Text number 18. Tvamaksharam paramam veditavyam tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam tvamavyaya sashvata dharma gupta Sanatanastvam Purusho Matome Tvam you Aksharam inexhaustible Paramam supreme Veditavyam to be understood Tvam you Asya of this Vishvasya of the universe Param supreme Nidhanam basis Tvam you are, Avyayaha inexhaustible, Sashvata Dharmagupta maintainer of the eternal religion, Sanatanaha eternal, Tvam you, Purushaha supreme personality, Mataha me is my opinion. Translation by His Divine Grace. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prachantaya Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadhanastrinam danteridam yachi punaha punaha Srimadrupa padam bhoja dulishyam janma janmani Amsho bhagavato smyaham sadadasu asmi sarvata Tat kripa pikshako nityam tat preshta shatkaromishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In 1972, we had the opportunity, Guru Kripa Swami and myself, my lowly self, to visit a city in South India in Tamil Nadu called Coimbatore. We had been invited there by a very wealthy gentleman, and this gentleman was a follower of the Sringeri Shankaracharya. So all over his house, he had different pictures of different demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh, Lakshmi, everything. And Guru Kripa Swami told the gentleman that you should not have all these pictures like this in your house. You should keep pictures of Krishna. So the gentleman became a little agitated. And Guru Kripa explained, according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he gave him a couple of quotes. He quoted from the Brahma Samhita, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text number 8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mata sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajante mam buddhabhava samanditaha, and other quotes. And a gentleman was a little shocked that these two Westerners, Americans, were able to quote him Sanskrit, and he really didn't have a reply. So the next day for breakfast, he brought a big pandit, these Mayavadi pandit. They have this big bhashma on their head, the tree-lined ash on their head. And he brought in a Sanskrit book with him. So we asked him, what is that book that you have there? Oh, this is Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita. So Guru Kripa, we had our Bhagavad Gita with us. And we pointed out, just like Krishna Katha here, right, has in front of him the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And exactly, he put it there on the table and says, this is the real Bhagavad Gita. Guru Kripa, this is the real Bhagavad Gita. This purport is being distributed all over the world. And people who read this book, they become devotees of Krishna. So then he says, well, what about Viveka somebody? And Guru Kripa says, Viveka who? Who is that? And the person, oh, you didn't hear somebody who went to Chicago in 1893 or whenever, and he gave a lecture. I never heard. I have relatives in Chicago. Nobody heard of him. What did he ever do in America? Did he make any devotees of Krishna? Did he establish any temples of Krishna? And the man, of course, had no reply, because this is the standard propaganda that such and such person went to America and he gave a lecture, or he did this, he did that. But Srila Prabhupada was quite unique. He came to this country, and we see from these readings in Prabhupada's diary that in the beginning there were not a whole lot of devotees. For the first year and a half, hardly anybody came. I mean, Prabhupada was living in an apartment in some place where there was no facility for cooking, no facility for shower, but yet he was very patient, very tolerant, completely transcendental. This is what a Paramamsa is. He did not complain about the facilities. He just marched on in a very steady, very, very steady, completely fixed on Krishna. And that is the difference between Srila Prabhupada and all the hocus pocus of nonsense wave of so-called Mayavadis, Sahajiyas, and other people who claim to preach Bhagavad Gita. We've heard recently that in one ISKCON temple in Chicago, they were advertising some Mayavadi Swami, some Ganapati Sachidananda somebody. Well, whoever he may be, good luck to him. But these kind of people have no business being in the temples of Srila Prabhupada. All of us are familiar that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not agree with the Mayavadi philosophy. There's a very famous statement in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Mayavadi Bhashya Hoile Sarvanash. That if you hear the commentary of the impersonalists, si vous écoutez les commentaires des impersonnalistes des Mayavadi, tout va être fini. If you listen to the commentary of the Mayavadi, Sarvanash, everything finished. Your spiritual life finished. Why? Because they decry the personality of Krishna. They defy the personality of God and Sri Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mayavadi oi Krishna aparadi, that Mayavadis are offenders at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, because they deny the eternal transcendental presence of the personality. Although Adi Shankaracharya, and Prabhupada has pointed out in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Adi Shankaracharya admit, Narayana para avyaktad, avyaktadanda sambhavaha, that Narayana is transcendental to this material manifestation, but they do not read very well. Everybody is familiar how Srila Prabhupada used to often say that Shankaracharya composed a very nice song, Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam mudamate, samprapte sanniti kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. Shankaracharya was in Benares one time, in Varanasi, and he saw some impersonalists practicing his grammatical combinations. It's called Dukrin Karane. Because when one learns Sanskrit, he has to learn different grammatical combinations. So Shankaracharya criticized him. Don't waste your time. This will not help you at the time of death. Just worship Govinda. But if you worship Govinda, and this is coming back to that story of this meeting with this Mayavadi Pandit in Coimbatore in 1972. And then Guru Kripa told him, why are you wearing that tilak? You should be wearing this tilak, this vertical tilak, Urdhva Pundra. And Guru Kripa says in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated, if you wear this tilak, you will become liberated. Even in the Atharva Veda, he described, Yo dharayati sa parasyo bhavati sa punyavan bhavati sa muktiman bhavati. That if you wear this Urdhva Pundra, then you will become pious, you will become intelligent, and you will become liberated. This is also confirmed by Sanatan Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Because people will often say, well, why do you wear this tilak? Because this tilak is meant to protect the body as a servant of Vishnu. So the Pandit was very shocked to hear, oh, somebody is telling me my tilak is not proper. And Guru Kripa said, you should wear the real tilak, the Vaishnav tilak. So after that, there was no more argument from that Pandit. His arguments were all defeated, all of his nonsense. So the point is that the teachings are there, although it is given as an instruction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one should never listen to the commentary of these impersonalists. We see that great acharyas, especially in our sampradaya, Madhvacharya, Sri Vikramacharya, Jayatirtha, Akshobhyatirtha, Vyasatirtha, they have analyzed all these commentaries of Adi Shankaracharya and all these followers and completely defeated all their nonsense proposition. We once asked a follower, a pandit of one of these Mayavadis, so if you say that this Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, that only Brahman is real and everything else is false, is this mat that you're living in, is this real or not real? If it is real, then you're admitting that something else besides Brahman is real that would defeat your philosophy. And if it is not real, why don't you give it to us and we'll make it real? So which is which? Of course, they would laugh and not answer. But the reality is that Prabhupada used to preach, and all of our acharyas, Yes, Brahma Satya is true. Brahma, the supreme Brahman, is real, but this world is not false. It is simply temporary. To say that it is false is nonsense. Simply nonsense. And that has been attacked and defeated by all these great acharyas, including great acharyas in the Ramanuja Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. There's one famous Sri Vaishnava Vedanta Desika. He wrote a book called Mayavada Shatadushani, 108 refutations of the Mayavadi philosophy. Eventually, we may have to have a GBC Shatadushani, 108 refutation of the falsehood and false doctrines of the GBC and the self-appointed acharyas of Fishkan. That will also come. Many devotees are writing many things. Of course, some people are still stuck in the past, thinking I was there and I really know because I was one of Prabhupada's best men and I really understand better than all of you rank and file or ordinary devotees. Well, anybody can be very proud, but when we analyze the history, the factual history based on facts, not make-believe, not just people's opinions, the reality is different. For example, some of these impersonalist so-called devotees, pseudo-devotees, one day after meeting with Srila Prabhupada, dealing with this issue of initiation, sent a report to all the temples in Prabhupada's society, and they completely avoided mentioning anything that they just had discussed about initiation. Why? Why the secret? Why the politics? Why the nonsense suppression? Because of personal agendas. They had their own ideas of what they wanted to do. When we carefully analyze all the statements of Srila Prabhupada in 1977, we do not find any record of a so-called appointment of Diksha Gurus of Acharyas, never mind how much experience or much closeness a person may have with Prabhupada. It does not exist. It's a myth. In the words of one of the masterminds of this disaster, the late secretary, the idea that Prabhupada appointed 11 gurus is a myth. A statement he made in Topanga Canyon, California on December 3rd, 1980. But some people love propagating the same myth, thinking, oh, because I was physically there and all of us who were Prabhupada's best men, we understood better than all of you peasants and regular devotees. Oh, really? Then how did you people deviate so much? How did you people concoct so many bogus philosophies? How did you people manage to mismanage so many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples and students? He placed them under your care. He placed them under your management. What did you do with them? You purged them out? They were an inconvenient group of people that had to be swept aside to fulfill your personal ambition. They had to be sacrificed on the altar of your personal ambitions. So much nonsense. What to speak of various individuals whom you allegedly consulted as higher authorities. Who are these higher authorities? When did Srila Prabhupada give any direction to any of his disciples or any of his leaders that there were higher authorities than him in his movement? Who are you? You had so much association with Prabhupada, and your conclusion was that you had to consult with higher authorities than Prabhupada? This is the example of madness. This is what happened when the seed and the disease of personal ambition, of name, fame, profit, adoration, distinction enters the mind, then somebody becomes confused. First of all, if they were referring to an individual in Navadvip whom they had consulted, it would have been singular. It would have been higher authority in the singular. Were they referring to themselves as higher authority? What is that? How is it that you can study all of Prabhupada's letters, all of Prabhupada's conversations, all of Prabhupada's books, and he never mentions any higher authority than himself in his movement? Oh, he refers to the 6 Goswamis as authorities. He refers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva as authorities. He refers to the 12 Mahajans as authorities, but he never mentioned anybody else as an authority. What to speak of that specific authority in the singular whom you consulted. But they told us, oh, Prabhupada told us if we had any questions, we could consult so-and-so. Oh, really? Where is that conversation? Did you play that conversation to all the temple presidents and all the devotees in 1978? Did you discuss this so-called manufactured so-called appointment tape in 1978? Did you play it in front of everybody? Did you discuss it? No. So devotees should not be fooled by so-called self-appointed acharyas and people who think that because they had so much physical association with Prabhupada that they claim they have a better understanding. Oh, really? We can go on this topic probably for hours and days, but we'll leave it at that for now. But in the future, and we've been mentioning this, we will have a special session where we will discuss in detail some of the statements, some of them completely outlandish, from some of these so-called authorities who've manufactured so many of these nonsense theories and ideologies. To whom it may concern, thank you so much for your time and your patience. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Very well spoken, by the way. The entire explanation of these verses of Bhagavad Gita, and not only that, also the connecting of the dots on how this mission should be continued under the direction of the instructions of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who very elaborately gave them throughout his manifested presence in his letters, in his books, and in his lectures. So there is no confusion. And Prabhupada asked us to meticulously study the scriptures because there's so much meaning in each verse, the Shruta, so much depth. And we can see that Prabhupada, when he was presenting his purports for our education, was able to elaborate on all different aspects of the meanings of these Shrutas, these codes of knowledge. They're codes, just like Prabhupada uses the example, CIF, cost including freight. That's what he says. So these codes, cost in FOB, these codes are also used in the spiritual explanation of truth. They're codes. And the verses give us insight, and then further explanation is given by Srila Prabhupada in his unadulterated editions of his books. And I've given this example over and over again, but it's very relevant. Now, Prabhupada said this. He said, people claim that I've done all these miracles. Oh, all these miracles. He says, but yes, their miracles are many. But the only miracle that I have done is I presented the absolute truth exactly the way my spiritual master presented it to me. And this is the tattvavit the truth can be understood by the student who carefully listens to the spiritual master and his words and has a capacity for understanding it. Now, we've discussed this in detail, this capacity to understand spiritual life is dependent on the individual and their spiritual advancement, which is coming from many, many lifetimes. This is not something necessarily we could have just started, but the fact of the matter is, whatever advancement you've made in the past, Bhaktijad, you take that up in the present and you continue on, is indestructible. Devotional service is an accumulation of service that you've done in many, many lifetimes. And in this way, you take it up. It's sort of like you're 27. Now you're not just a teenager, but you're still a young man, relatively speaking. And if Krishna blesses you to live on to the 70s and 80s, then you'll realize there's a lot for you to do from 27 up to 80 or 90 or 95. Yes, there's a lot to do. So you can build your Krishna consciousness credits through devotional service throughout this life. Now, Prabhupada was asked this question, Yashodanandana Prabhu, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? I think it was in Australia. And Prabhupada said, you don't read the Bhagavad Gita? He asked the person, you don't read? Sarva dharman parijyaja. All of them as they surrender unto me, it's according to your surrender that you give up all varieties of religiousness and just surrender unto me. So how long does it take to surrender? Prabhupada goes, 1 second. In 1 second, you can become Krishna conscious. It's just a matter of accepting and understanding this fact that Krishna is everywhere. Now, it's interesting to note, Yashodanandana Prabhu, that even though it's as obvious as anything to the devotee, it is so, people are so covered over by the fact that they can't see it at all. Even though it's simple logic. For example, Prabhupada gives the example of a painter and the painting. You look at the amazing painting, you go, wow, look at that painting. And you think, well, no one painted it. Excuse me. Behind every creation, there is a creator. It's not that it just appears by a big bang. This absurdity is going on in this world. There's a great painting, but there's no painter. You look at the flowers, you look at the creation itself, you look at the marble, and it's so massive and so inconceivable that it's hard for people to grasp it. Is there such a thing as a creator? Is there? Well, connect the dots, you animal. You can't see it. You're nothing but an animal, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Prabhupada came to teach us how to rise up out of the animal state, to at least acknowledge that God exists, and they can't do it because they're insane. This modern world, Krishna Katha, is mad with insanity. They're completely mad. Don't think that everyone is a great... Look, people are good. Even Prabhupada said in the reading today, Yashodanandana Prabhu, he was saying, oh, I was in the Bowery. Yes, he was. He was he had that loft that he was with Paul Murray, who was doing LSD. And he said, yeah, the people, they were lying in this doorstep going up to the third floor, and they were in urine and stool, but they were still respectful. They understood. They were still respectful to him. And they got eternal benefit from that, everyone. The association of a pure devotee is very, very rare. And we, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and by dint of our previous activities in previous lifetimes, have now come to the platform of being in a position to serve the pure devotee and protect his legacy moving forward. So Krishna is everywhere. And if we take up this process of devotional service, and Prabhupada constantly speaks about this, Prabhus, that Krishna is in his name, that the name and form of Krishna are non-dual. And if we chant Hare Krishna throughout this life, Krishna Katha, will reveal everything to you. It comes from within. If you have the capacity to take this up without false ego, without envy. So many people are envious. They don't like other people to succeed. They think, oh, who do they think they are? Well, you can be envious. You can be a fault finder. You can be anything you want, but you won't see Krishna if you don't act as a devotee of Krishna and assimilate these principles into your life, become purified, and in this way, you'll transcend the material world. And you can become Krishna conscious, Bhaktijad, in 1 second. And Prabhupada explains that in the Bhagavatam. It's like the separating the coconut pulp from the coconut shell. Even though you're in this material body, we're stuck in it. Oh yeah, in the city of 9 gates, Krishna Katha, we're stuck in this body that's deteriorating. Look at it, it's pathetic. It's like when you see a picture of yourself when you get older. How do you like the way you look? You look at yourself, God, do I look this bad? Every time I see a picture, I look at myself, I go, geez, that doesn't look like me. I was mentioning earlier, I'll finish up here, but I went to this class reunion 2 weeks ago, and Krishna Katha, I swear I couldn't recognize one person in my class that I'd gone to school with. And I went to school with them for 4 years. And I'm sitting at the table with them, and I'm looking into their faces. I'm looking right in their eyes, and I can't figure out who it is. And I thought, and then someone came up to me, oh, I didn't recognize you. Who are you? I'm going, I look just as bad as they do. So right in front of my eyes, I could see transmigration of the soul taking place. Yovanam Kovanam Jara, from boyhood to youth to old age, and then to death. I'm going, but you think in your mind, well, I don't look that bad. Oh yeah, that's right. Sure you don't. That's another illusion. Yes, we do look that bad. This is a body. One of my friends is staying at the ashram here, and he has a friend, Yashodanandana Prabhu, who's a very successful businessman. Okay, he's like a multi-millionaire. He's taking mentorship from him in the entertainment industry. And he comes to me last week and he goes, oh, Steve is in the hospital. I go, really? Oh yeah, he's in LA, he's in the hospital. Oh, what happened? Well, his whole system broke down. Oh, really? And then he sent me a picture and I saw he's lying in the bed, Krishna Katha. He's got all these, the standard, you know what it's about. You've had serious injury. You're just loaded with needles in your arms. And then he's got a catheter bag, and they're showing the catheter bag, and it's filled with blood. Mr. Big Shot is now a bag of blood, pus, stool, urine. That's what you are. This material body is a place of ignorance. When I got up this morning, I was praying, Sarira Vijajaljo Tendriya Taikal. This material body is a place of ignorance. The senses are all networks of past leading to death. Somehow or other, we've fallen into this miserable ocean of material sense enjoyment. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. Blah, blah, blah. But you, dear Lord Krishna, you've sent this wonderful prasadam in the form of the prasadam food that we're eating and in the form of the mercy of the spiritual master. Yes. And this will help us to conquer over this illusion that I am this bag of pus, stool, and urine. I'm changing it slightly, but you get the point. That's what this is. This is a place of misery where there is no happiness. What people perceive as happiness is just a mental speculation. From enjoyment, there comes no happiness. You think one of my friends who I'm preaching to, I just want to enjoy myself. Or are you going to be, you're miserable, but you think if you go enjoy, you'll be happy. You won't be happy. There is no happiness unless you're engaged in the transcendental loving service of the spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yashoda, if you could comment quickly.
Well, there's just a lot of very important points that are being discussed here. First of all, this fundamental point that we're not the body. How many times did Srila Prabhupada discuss this? Practically in every lecture, every conversation, every letter Prabhupada is reminding us. Brahmananda went to Srila Prabhupada one time, and he personally told me that story. He went to Srila Prabhupada and asked him, Prabhupada, it seems to be very difficult to be humble in this world. Prabhupada says, no, it is actually very easy. First, you have to understand what you are. Prabhupada says, what you really are is 1/10,000th tip of a hair. And Prabhupada quoted him a verse from the Upanishads that it described that if you divide a hair into 100 portions, then 1/10,000th tip of a hair, this is what you really are. And because we forget this, that's why we're not humble. So we have to basically be very, very careful how we deal with other devotees, how we deal with other persons in the material world. For example, in the Nectar of Devotion, it's described that usually people cannot take to this process of bhakti unless they've done it in a past life. Mm-hmm. So we do not know how much actual spiritual advancement somebody may have made. Somebody should not think, I was with Prabhupada, I know better than this newcomer, I know better than this other devotee, I've got a better understanding. This is all false ego. This is all nonsense. Because we see practically from a historical observation that many persons who were physically with Prabhupada, who had so much association with his divine grace, and also persons who were associated with his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that many such persons ended up deviating. In many instances, such persons ended up to be big debauchees. So just physical association alone is not a guarantee of success. Mm-hmm. Somebody may have been a devotee in his last life and be a very advanced devotee. And in this life, regardless of when they were born, they're getting another chance again to take part in the process. That is why it is so important to understand Guru Tattva. What is a pure devotee? What is a liberated soul? Mm-hmm. What is a Nitya Siddha, an eternally liberated soul? What is a Paramamsa, a topmost level devotee? Very important. Otherwise, if one starts to think that a pure devotee is like an ordinary being, that is very injurious, mentally, intellectually, and spiritually. I just want to read from a section from a Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which explain why a person like Srila Prabhupada was able to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 114. Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 114. It is described, due to the great crowds in Prayag, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to a place called Dasashwamedha Ghat. It was there that the Lord instructed Srila Rupa Goswami and empowered him in the philosophy of devotional service. Purport. Parasya Shaktir Vivideva Shruyate. The Supreme Lord as multi-potencies, which the Lord bestows on his fortunate devotees. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Rupesh or Venkat.
Rupesh.
Rupesh, the Lord as a special potency by which he spreads the Krishna consciousness movement. This is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila 7:11. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahitar Pravartana. One cannot spread the holy name of Krishna without being specifically empowered. Where are we here? By Lord Krishna. A devotee who received this power from the Lord must be considered very fortunate. The Krishna consciousness movement is spreading to enlighten people about their real position, their original relationship with Krishna. One requires Krishna's special power in order to be able to do this. People forget their relationship with Krishna and work under the spell of Maya life after life, transmigrating from one body to another. This is the process of material existence. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna personally descends to teach people that their position in the material world is a mistaken one. The Lord again comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to induce people to take to Krishna consciousness. The Lord also empowers a special devotee to teach people their constitutional position. Now, Prabhupada doesn't brag about himself, but we can see in this last sentence that he's indirectly referring to himself. And the greatest blasphemy against Srila Prabhupada is for people who claim that they represent him to allow Mayavadi nonsense to infiltrate in the movement, just like what they've done in Chicago a few weeks ago, to allow a nonsense Mayavadi impersonalist to give a lecture. And they're promoting this nonsense. Why? Because it makes money to attract the Hindus. Well, thank you very much. We don't need this nonsense in this movement, to whom it may concern, especially for those who think that they had so much physical personal relationship with Prabhupada, and they become so bewildered they can't see this simple thing. Hare Krishna.
Yes, a very good point. And, I wanted to further elaborate before we call on Dharma Bhavana to speak, that big devotee, this term big devotee, Krishna Katha, he was used back in the 70s. Oh, he's a big devotee, he's this and that. Now, in the end, many of these people were exposed as frauds, hypocrites, very big hypocrites. You know one of them, Krishna Katha. I know a few of them that were very big hypocrites, like Keith Ham, complete farce, this fellow. And rather than go over the details, you can read that in Henry Dortowski's books. He's written 9 volumes of books on this subject of deviation with Devamrita and Radhanath and all these other people that were ganged up together with the New Vrindavan Mafia, who did some very serious things. So big devotee, humble servant. That is what a big devotee is. And I can remember when we were working together to buy the Toronto Temple, which is now worth tens of millions of dollars. And it's in downtown Toronto, right up from the Parliament buildings and down from Upper Canada College. Prabhupada wrote to us, he said, it's a topmost triumph that you bought this building for Krishna. Because we established Krishna consciousness in Canada as a religious organization for the future. And we put the signs up that Prabhupada directed us to put up with the Hare Krishna. So millions of people have chanted Hare Krishna because of this direction, carrying out this order of Srila Prabhupada in preaching in Canada. But who were the big devotees that did this? Well, I'll tell you who they were. It were the people that went out every day and sold books and raised money and worked hard together as a team to make it happen. And not one GBC gave 1 penny. Zero. Mr. Big Devotee, you hypocrite, in front of us, coming into the building with a dog, sleeping with a kid, doing all kinds of madness in front of us, and we were stupid enough not to figure it out until he got exposed. Exposed. Big Devotee means a humble servant, and the humble servants that work with us back then, the Murli Krishnas, the Tri Lokanaths, the Shashvatas, all of the different, Giri Jadava, and all the different devotees that were with us, my hat's off to them. It was us that got that building for Prabhupada, and it was us that get the glorification that it is a topmost triumph for Krishna. And it is us that get the mercy of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Period. Not these so-called pencil pusher, impersonator, big-time executive zeros. Fakes. Dharma Bhavana, please. In Dallas, Texas, one of our branch offices in our worldwide organization, everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah,
please.
thanks very much for a super wonderful class today. Very revealing about how we're supposed to understand Krishna consciousness in a world of Nirvishesha and Shunyavadi.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting how Prabhupada appreciated the people who were kind of like years ago when I was a kid, we called the people winos. They'd be situated in a certain area of downtown, and they had kind of given up on life. And these people, these kind of derelicts, were respectful to Prabhupada, and that was the most great benediction for their lives. They've given up on life, but somehow or another they could do some devotional service by some respectful behavior. But I had a question. If somebody could answer this, I may know the answer, but I wanted to just ask it. Someone may have met a devotee many years ago and learned of Krishna consciousness from this devotee, and is very attached to this devotee because they've really learned how to, straighten their life out, or at least get started in the process of Krishna consciousness. Now this devotee is learning about the great offense we talk about, the book changes, the guru business, and so on. My question is, how can this devotee get past this roadblock where he's very, very attached to some devotee who may have kind of become involved in the guru business, but they have this great love and attachment from a long time ago, and there's some genuine appreciation for it. But at the same time, this great attachment may be kind of a roadblock to learning how to really improve their lives now in year 20 by 24.
I'm going to give a quick answer, and I'll ask Yashoda too. Prabhu, the thing is, yes, some people get benefit, obviously, from the instructions of other people that are using Krishna consciousness as a means for advancing their own particular purpose. And remember this, that Paramatma is in the heart of everyone. And Prabhupada very confidently says this, Krishna knows everything. And he's guiding the conditioned soul on his journey back home, back to Godhead. And by us continuing on with our service to protect the legacy of Srila Prabhupada, people will be guided to us. It's not over. Even though the ISKCON boat has left the harbor and has sailed out, we have not left. The movement is still alive. And the opportunity to take this up is our responsibility as a group Dharma Bhavana to contact as many people as possible while we're living, and give them the opportunity. And then Krishna will guide them back home, back to Godhead, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Okay, so you're learning. It's just like a Christian. A Christian could be a very good Christian. What will happen to them? Well, eventually they'll become a Krishna devotee. That's the way it is. We move forward progressively in our evolution to take shelter of Krishna through this process of devotional service being taught by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We're going to move forward, Yashoda. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to get Nilesh Dalal. He's with us. I think he just joined us. He might be in the car. Nilesh, Shama, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let me guess before you speak. You're in the car. Am I right or wrong?
I am in the car.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. I guessed it. Sorry. That's okay. I guessed it. I knew it. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'm on my way to Gainesville, Alachua. So anyway,
okay.
It's a very interesting topic, which I'm hearing, is that, calling oneself a great devotee, a big devotee, the name itself, there is a problem with it. If we call ourselves Dasanu, Dasanu, Dasanu Das, the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, how can we call ourselves a great devotee, a big devotee? If we call ourselves that we need to be as humble as a blade of grass, then how can we call ourselves a big devotee? If you truly are a devotee, and if you truly are considered to be, from a material perspective, a big devotee, you will never consider yourself this particular topic as calling yourself a big devotee. So, those who really want to scrutinizingly study Prabhupada's original books will never call themselves a great devotee or a big devotee. You see, again, physical association, it can be of two types, as Prabhupada said. You can be a bug who will do nothing but suck the blood out of the spiritual master, or you can be away from your spiritual master and follow his Vani. So those who claim to be close to Prabhupada, they're fortunate in one sense, no doubt about that. But what have they done with that association? That is more important, and that is the reason why I always kind of, when I'm around so-called senior devotees, I just say, why do you call yourself that? Because if everything is based on the prarabdha karmas, there may be a very new Kanishta Adhikari, very new person in Krishna consciousness, but who has got such great prarabdha karmas or past deeds, past pious deeds, that his surrender to Krishna consciousness would be just like how Prabhupada says, 1 minute. While people like me, who are so polluted, may take years and years, and maybe who knows, but if it was not because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So it does not matter whether you are senior or junior. It all depends on how quickly you surrender to Krishna and to Srila Prabhupada. And the last thing about it, Prabhuji, I'm just sorry about that, but I would like to make a little critique is, whoever did whatever in Krishna consciousness movement, whoever did whatever service to Srila Prabhupada, the person should never say oh, I did it, or we did it, or somebody did it. Because eventually we are all what? Nimitta Matrani. We are nothing but conduits of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, and we need to be fortunate that we were engaged in that service for Srila Prabhupada and Shri Krishna. So I think is that we need to really focus on how a real a person in Krishna consciousness should behave and should label himself. And as others try to label themselves as great devotees or big devotees, It is a big misfortune. It is a representation of a real devotee. I would love to know your comments and Yashodanandan Prabhu's comments on this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very well spoken, by the way. Thank you, too, for your participation. And we're looking forward to having you be a part of our global offices for the distribution of the books that we're planning to publish and other works that we're doing to spread Krishna consciousness. You know, it's important, Nilesh, to understand that all of us are important as devotees. And just like any organization, respect must be given to people. The term senior a lot of times means in many ways the age of the person. Like, for example, people refer to me as a senior. So it doesn't mean that you're senior by status. It just means you're senior by age. You're older. So we give respect to senior people. Even Muslims do that. They respect senior people. Some people do. Other people don't. They're just have no etiquette. So, and the same thing too, like even in the sports world or in the movie star world, people are given respect for what they achieve or accomplish. And this is just proper etiquette. It's not ego. We cannot become impersonalists. Oh, you don't count. We do count. Everybody counts. It's a matter of doing something so that we can celebrate that person's victory for Krishna. Just like I see so many people in our group that are doing so much nice service. And I want to glorify them because they are doing it. This is not an impersonal movement. We are not impersonal people. We are very appreciative of everyone here. And personally, I love it when I can say Bhakta Ron, Bhakta Jad, Bhakta whoever, because they, for us, are the greatest victories. Yashoda, maybe you could wind up the comments for today.
Well, I think that Nilesh Prabhu is raising some very, very important points. And the reason I'm saying this is if you notice on the chat, if anybody wants to see on the chat, I quoted a letter from Srila Prabhupada to one devotee named Gopi Janavallabha, where Prabhupada mentions, actually in our movement, there is no such thing as big or small. Everyone is a devotee. And I know this because I was Guru Kripa's assistant and he was a GBC, that we had many times amongst the leadership, Prabhupada made a lot of very nice, encouraging comments with regards to the GBC. He had a lot of hopes. He had a lot of aspirations for these people to manage the movement according to his instruction. But the reality of what took place after 1977 is very different. And many devotees have a hard time looking at reality for what it is. They just cannot see what happened, where the rubber meets the road, what the facts are. Facts are facts. People cannot manufacture their own facts. It doesn't matter what position they had in the movement. And a lot of this stems from Prabhupada warns about this both in Srimad Bhagavatam and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that familiarity breeds contempt. And the reason this is, one has to be very careful if one gets very close to the spiritual master, because one can commit offense even unknowingly. Now, there's a great mercy having had the chance to directly associate with Srila Prabhupada. Hey, that's nice. I mean, I got the chance to massage Prabhupada's feet. One night, Prabhupada said, stop, come over here. I said, yes, Prabhupada, did I do something wrong? He said, no, massage my heart. I said, okay, Prabhupada. I had no idea why Prabhupada was giving me such mercy. Prabhupada can choose to give mercy to anybody. He can give his mercy to a rickshaw driver. What to speak of individuals who gave nice service to him to start his movement. But what we have seen is that people become arrogant. They become proud. Oh, I was with Prabhupada. I know better than you. I've got a special understanding. Or do you think I'm such a fool because I've got so much experience? I got so much. This is all nonsense. That's why Prabhupada is saying here, actually in our movement, there is no such thing as big or small devotee. One has to first recognize, Srila Prabhupada was once asked this very question, what about the big devotees in the movement? Prabhupada's reply, I am the only big devotee in this movement. Let us remember this. Now, we don't want to disrespect any devotee who did very nice service for me. That's nice. But people should not be arrogant to think that because Prabhupada gave them a chance to do some service, now they have a special position or a special understanding. Because we can see philosophically how these people deviated in so many ways. So many ways in 1978, in 1979, in 1980, in 1986, in 1990, so many nonsense statements from people who claim that they were acharyas. Some people who claim they had been allegedly appointed as Prabhupada's successors and gurus. Let us not be fooled by this kind of crowd. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And I just want to end off by saying that, okay, fine, we've all done different things in our life, which, we may think we're successful or we may have failed or whatever. But the main thing is what you're doing now, Nilesh. It's not what you did in the past. It's what we do now. For example, if you're selling BMWs, you could sell 16 BMWs in 1 month, and the next month you do none. Guess what happens? You get fired. What's your score today? Well, I did nothing. Okay, goodbye. So it's not what we did in the past. It's what we're doing currently, like every day, moving forward in the process of eternal time, beyond time and space. And that is what devotional service is. It's a tremendous science that we're involved in, as you know. And, this congregation that we're developing as a group is a scientific opportunity for us to go deeper and deeper, Krishna Katha, into this philosophy and really rejoice within our hearts that we've landed here on this island of spiritual bliss. Very fortunate. And we're not falling asleep in our class at some empty temple room somewhere in America or somewhere with a bunch of people that are not really serious. And our group, this group, is very serious. We know that, and we want to thank you all for being a part of this. And we're going to keep marching forward. Anyone who's interested in becoming a branch office of our society, please get in touch with me. That's number one. Number two, we're looking for technology people to work with us as we continue to penetrate social media, which is also a big asset these days. We're reaching thousands and thousands of people. You can go down on the street of your town, you'll meet one or two people. But here we're meeting thousands of people every month, and we're reaching out to people, spreading the absolute truth to them. So if you can help us with this, greatly appreciated. We do need your help for operating Zoom classes and other aspects of our social media campaign. So lots to do, and we're coming up with the books in the near future. So when we get them, we can distribute them. And all this connecting of the dots will start to take a real shape and form as we move forward to spread the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya together in cooperation. And this will show Prabhupada that we truly understand this philosophy. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna. We'll go back in time, Krishna Katha. Chant along with Srila Prabhupada every way. One, have your kirtan for a little while, chanting with the Guru. and then we'll offer obeisances, and we'll be back tomorrow. Yashoda will announce it for the Srimad Bhagavatam class being read from the Delhi Bhagavatams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this program. Thanks Bhaktajad. Merci beaucoup Prabhu pour ta participation. Thank you very much from Italy. Vijay Pandit Prabhu Gopika and every Bhakta Zoran. Comeva, grazie. Tutte le glorie sua divine grazia, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. We will see you all tomorrow morning. Also, thanks to Penny Shaw on the program. We will see everybody tomorrow morning from Srimad Bhagavatam at 7 o'clock a.m. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much, Nilesh Prabhu, for your comments. Very enlivening and very pertinent. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya